And hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo. And in this episode, I'm going to do another 47's reading around the whole pandemic, the lockdown, and what my approach to it all should be. I've done 3 so far, so this will be the 4th one. This might be, maybe, who knows, depends what the future is, the last one I do. The first 3 I found very helpful, and it was very good advice and steered me well through this entire, whatever this is, this journey. And it seems now that it's definitely coming into the end goal of it, or the end game of it. The tide is certainly turned, and in Ireland here we're definitely we're in the kind of opening up phase. In Poland, the pubs are open, the restaurants are open, and things are all kind of as much as normal, going back to normal. But let's not go back to normal. Let's go back to a new normal that is much better than the old normal. But anyway, that's for another video, I suppose. So I thought I'd do a 47's reading, just to see what they might have to suggest me, and what this next phase, what I should concentrate on, what should I look out for, and what I should be aware of. So yeah, let's do that. Give it a good old shuffle. Hope you are well. It's lovely and sunny here today. It's lovely and warm, and all is pretty good. Yeah, I'm still most part enjoying the lockdown, apart from all the the not seeing the family bits and friends and all that kind of thing. But I got a lot done. It was very productive. I enjoyed the sort of downtime of, it wasn't really downtime, because I worked like as much as I would have worked, but the mental downtime or something, there was something, the psychic chatter downtime, there was something very calming and serene about the whole thing. Less so over the last couple of weeks, because it's obviously come back into the everything opening up and things becoming busier and all that. But anyway, enough of me rambling. Ooh, okay, so here we go. First card, the Hilo. The Hilo came up before. So this is to have a look at the idea of using whatever's left as a form of healing as well, and to be aware of healing. Now, of course, there's many things going on during the lockdown for me. I'll not mention the eyes. I swore I wouldn't mention it again. But a couple of other things as well. I ended up going to the doctor and got a few things checked out and stuff like that. And of course the MAP stuff I've been doing, which is the medical assistant program, part of the co-creative White Brotherhood, all that woo stuff. I was about to say nonsense and then had to crack my brain. The woo gloriousness that is MAP. I've still been doing that, and I'm finding it hard the last couple of days to engage with it, and my sessions are getting smaller and smaller. I think yesterday's one was like 6 minutes before I just couldn't take it anymore. It's just because my brain is going mad. I'm doing lots of other stuff, creative stuff, and getting back into music and stuff like that I'm just kind of sitting there wanting to do stuff. So this, I would say, as a call to remember that there's meant to be a section of healing involved in this whole thing. If you want to look from a greater kind of outer macrocosm than just me as a microcosm, like the skies are so much clearer, pollution is so much less. You see all those Facebook posts of, for the first time in 400 years you can see the moon from Jim's basement, because the skies are so clear, or whatever it is. But this idea of a kind of a reset, or not even reset, but a relaxed, and just a bit of a time for healing. So I have to incorporate a bit more into it in the last while, and then going forward into the new world, to have it still that I have that kind of a mentality going in, that there should always leave time for healing. And so maybe it would be a thing to keep at my MAP stuff and maybe come up with some other stuff. Someone was mentioning Reiki. Someone was watching the Reiki videos I'd done from last year and mentioned the Reiki book, which they said was good, that I found an audiobook. So I might get back into Reiki. Who knows how woo I will become. Oh, that came out, the Depleted. Now that came up the last time, so that's interesting too. So in that I came to think of, was like, kind of confused me for a while, but it was like be aware of burnout, but it's also being aware of that that there's this element of trying to remove stuff, to finish stuff, to put things to rest, to remove the energy entirely from the word preoccupation is in my head, so I'm just going to say it. It's to some sort of, it's like trying to, if you were looking at it from a kind of like a conspiracy point of view, the kind of depletion would be like trying to deplete, the economy or something like that. But it's like, that's what, the conspiracy say. That's one of the many things the conspiracies are saying. People are saying about it. But it's like, it's trying to come to make sure something ends entirely. And so from a kind of a microcosm level, it's trying to, I would say, to make sure that the kind of lessons I've learned or the type of things that I'm bringing through me, say my shadow work and stuff like that, that I'm to really kind of have a look at that and make sure I don't bring that with me anymore, to deplete all of that now, to get all of that out of the way, so that when the next section happens, that it is depleted. That's a very pro-positive kind of reading, so which I want to take, but we have to keep in mind too that it might also be suggesting that this is some sort of way of trying to deplete my energy, or there is something depleting my energy, or I have to be aware that something has come to an end that I don't want to come to an end, or something. Interesting that both of those things have come up before, the healer and the depleted. So you could see if the healer and the depleted would begin, the healing is in meaning that you have to let something go. You have to let something, the season of something has to go. You have to get on to the new season, and that's the way it is. So from that kind of thing where we've talked before about, not mentioning the eyes, but this whole idea of getting older and stuff like that, it just has to be an allowance of that to allow the new season, and holding on, trying to remember the spring is only going to cause pain and suffering as you go, trying to remember someone, as you go into autumn and all of these things start coming, the leaves falling off the trees, all of that. So there's things to be said and thought about in this kind of correlation between healing and depletion. And trying to see both a positive and a negative, what's the good side of depletion, and what could be possibly something I need to worry about or haven't been looking at. So that's interesting. So the final card. The Fortunate. See, this is why when it comes to the depleted, and particularly in the last one as well, I can't remember exactly, I know it was the healer something and the depleted. Maybe it wasn't the last one, but it was one of them. Why I don't think it's such a negative thing where you would immediately go with the depleted. Why I'm not going with, say, the conspiracy kind of angle of it's trying to take something away from me or, remove my energy. It's because it's surrounded by nice cards. So you have the healer, you have a depletion, and you have the fortunate. So you have the healing will lead to a dissipation, will lead to an end, which leads to good fortune. So it seems highly unlikely that the depletion would be a bad thing. Although in the moment, of course, it could feel like a bad thing in the way that an end of a relationship can feel devastating and the worst thing in the world. But then a year later, you realise just, how good it is to be out of that relationship or a job or whatever it is. But in the moment of losing that job, it's a disaster. It's terrible. It feels like the worst thing in the world. So, so healing, a depletion, and that leads to good fortune. So overall, it's a positive, very positive kind of outlook. With the kind of notion that there is still some mechanism still happening, there's still some process, there's still something being carried on, particularly with the two cards from the last, or at least the previous reading, about around the depletion. There seems to be something I'm just sticking with on that depletion that I don't seem to be grasping or don't seem to be understanding, or maybe I'm trying to make it bigger than it is or not, I don't know. It's something I'm going to have to let kind of sit through my brain and kind of sieve down into something, but to be very aware as it came up twice. So, have you been doing any readings? Have you been doing any kind of intuition, or what's your thoughts around it? Does it feel like it's coming into an end, and for you, maybe it isn't? I know when I'm kind of talking about these things, and I've said at different times that, the tide is turned, or there seems to be different things, and then you look at different places, and it's definitely not. This is definitely from my perspective here now. Like last week, we did start the first stage of our coming out of lockdown. We 5 phases that we're going to go through until we're back to normal. But it's it definitely is coming out of this here. But in other places, it doesn't seem to be. Even in places where it seems to be an awful lot worse, people seem to be coming out of it. I don't know the overall kind of picture. I've less and less been paying attention to it over the last couple of weeks, just because I'm trying to remove myself from that entire pendulum. So, but it'd be interesting to hear what you think of what has come up for you, your thoughts, in your divinations, your general kind of outlook, and what you think about the whole notion of the healing depletion kind of thing. What do you think I'm missing? What's going on there? Why it's interesting it's come up twice, obviously. Am I trying to take too much of a positive spin of it? Am I ignoring too much of a negative thing? It seems a kind of a rational thing to look at a positive, given the other cards that have always come around it. But let me know. See what you think. and we go from there. So, good people of the internet, that's the 4th reading. Perhaps there will be a 5th reading for these Corona diaries. Perhaps there won't. But that's where we are for the minute. It just felt right to do a reading now. So, good people of the internet, may your future be full of fortune and healing. And if you do need to have a depletion, may it be for your betterment. May your best days be ahead, and be well.